Good morning. Welcome to the Thomas Lee House here in East Lyme, Connecticut. We're owned and operated by the East Lyme Historical Society. You can find us online at Facebook or at our website, eastlymehistoricalsociety.org. Today we're going to be looking at the barn, which is located adjacent to the house. We'll pan over. There's the Thomas Lee House itself, the herb garden from a previous video, and back to the barn. It's not an original building. The right side was built about 20 years ago. Inside we have Nahantic Indian displays, Lee family displays, and General Americana. On the left side, which was built about 2 years ago, we have a couple bigger ticket items that we've had the fortune of having donated to us. And to talk about those items today, we are joined by East Lyme Town Historian Liz Cookta. What do you got for us today, Liz?
Well, thanks, Rod. I'd first like to show off our East Lyme, or Niantic, mail wagon that we received last year. It was a gift to the Society from the Connecticut Daughters of the American Revolution, and they had had the mail wagon in their Wadsworth stables for many, many years. In fact, so long they had no record of how they came about it, but thought that it should be back home here in Niantic. Mail delivery, RFD, or Rural Free Delivery, was an act set by Congress in 1896, allowing free delivery to homes of mail. Before that, you would have to go to the local general store or maybe the postmaster's house to pick up your mail. Our mail wagon here dates from the early 1900s. And many of the men who delivered the mail would actually own the wagon themselves along with the horse. And that's probably how this ended up being saved, by being in someone's barn for a very long time. You'll notice the bright colors. At first we were kind of curious about that, but we found out that many were painted these bright colors so that people could see the mail wagon coming down the street and actually recognize it versus some other buggy coming there. The wagons had glass windows that could be closed up in the winter so the delivery man could stay warm, and sometimes they even would carry small coal stoves to keep warm during those days. In the summer they would be able to open all the windows and allow the cool breezes to come in. Here you can see the small entryway and the small little cabin inside for the driver to sit and lead the horses. It's a really wonderful piece to be able to bring it back home to Niantic. Now, I notice I said RFD number 2. RFD number 1 was the Flanders section of East Lyme. And we are very, very fortunate that we actually have a photograph here of the RFD number 1 mail wagon in Flanders. And we actually know that the driver at that time was Percy Morgan, and he took over delivering the mail in 1909. So we actually see what one of the mail wagons looked like here in town. So we hope that at some point in time you might be able to come visit the mail wagon and learn a little more about it.
This is really a great piece, Liz. Thanks for sharing it with us. What else do you have for us today?
Well, what's really exciting is right next to the mail wagon is the first fire wagon for the town of East Lyme. As you notice on the side, it says Our Pride, and that is what the men of the department dubbed their first fire wagon. It was built approximately 1890 here in East Lyme by the Dixon Carriage Company, George Dixon being in charge. And that was located on what is now North Washington Avenue. The the painting in that was done by Hiram Brockway, and the metal work was done by Fred Jakes James, who was a blacksmith here in town. The pump, you'll notice, you can still read the markings on it, where it was from the M.B. Douglas Company out of Middletown, who for many, many years were known for the quality of the pumps that they made. You notice the ropes on the front and the back. In those days, it would take a very long time to attach horses to the wagon to pull it to a fire. So 6 or 8 men would grab the ropes in the front to pull the wagon, and you'd have 4 or 6 men in the back ropes to act as brakes to slow it down if they needed. Once they got to the fire, they would park it as near as they could to a water supply, probably a well, and they would use a bucket brigade to fill the inside of the wagon with around 100 gallons of water to be able to pump it. They stopped using this wagon around 1920 when the first motorized vehicle was brought in. And in 1923, the first fire department was built on Grant Street in Niantic. And then not long after that, the first real fire truck was built. This wagon ended up in a barn tucked away, and later it was brought and put in the basement where it was delegated to gather dust and dirt. And in 1958, the men found it in the basement and brought it up and refurbished it to be used for displays during open house and at other events. We're very, very fortunate that the fire department has brought the wagon here to allow us to display it along with the mail wagon. So at some point in time when we're open again for visitors, we would love to have you come and learn more about this wagon as well as the mail wagon. So we ask everybody to remember that and keep watching for when we'll be open again.
All right, Liz, these are great pieces. Thanks for sharing them with us. And again, thanks to our generous donors for providing them for us. And we hope to see you again soon.